Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulihil Kareem. Now, another thing I want to talk about is the unity of this ummah, right? We are at the point of history where we are the most divided people in the world. Nationalism divides us, sectarianism divides us, right? And from my perspective, I think this is the most important problem of this ummah, that we are divided, right? And it's unity is strength, right? And we are one of the weakest people on the face of this planet. So, so I want to address the imams, right, of the Masjids, of particularly the West and the Muslim world in general, right? Because the West, the communities are, very active. They're trying to find ways to grow. And so my question and my this video, I want to make a point to the people who are imams in the masjids. And I'm sorry, my tone is a bit aggressive because I'm really upset with this whole situation of Gaza, and I want answers. No, like, we don't have this culture in the masjids that people talk about these situations, right? These are obviously heated topics, but we should know how to control ourselves and have a discussion in an educated manner, right? So the youth has questions, right? The kids who are in their teenage, who don't know the history of this conflict, who did not grow up with this conflict like me, they are confused on why is this happening, right? And for me, the imams of the masajids have the answer, and they should encourage discussions, right? Let the youth talk and address their questions. But for me, I want to talk about. I want to talk to them, right? And I want to tell them that if you don't have the ability to unite your community, you should be kicked out of the masjid. To be honest, And I everywhere I go, the imam is not a person that unites the community. It's always the imam causing divisions. The imam cannot bring them. The imam cannot answer questions. The imam does not know how to smile. The imam does not know how to talk to people. So if you don't know how to talk to people, if you don't know how to bring people together, if you don't know how to discuss matters in a way that you keep your cool, then you should just leave that job. There's no point in that job because you're not achieving the objectives of this job. If you think of this whole ummah um, as a building, right? Let's say as a structure, we are the units. We are the bricks of this structure. Every community in the world, right, which is connected with the masjid, particularly the West, because we are very closely connected to our masajids. If you are not connected to the masjid, um, like if you're in the community, you're always connected to the masjid, right? Most of the cases, right? So the masjid is like a brick of a big structure. If the brick is weak, the whole structure is going to be weak. So the brick that you are part of, that you lead, you are making that brick weak if you cause division in the community. You know, I have been in situations. I know people who stopped going to the masjid because the imam said something. There was a fight or something, and happens all the time in the U.S. communities. And the imam, if the imam, and a message to the people who are in the committees, right? If you don't know, if you don't know how to unite people, you should get out of the community, because you are making the whole ummah weak through your arrogance, right? And this happens in masajids throughout the U.S. Not every masjid, but most of the masajids, this happens, that the imam is an intimidating personality that people are scared of, or the imam is under the committee, and the committee are like a bunch of old people who don't know what are the problems, and who are too self-centered to do something good for the ummah. Their own grudges and their own arrogance is too big, so that they're unable to address the problems of this ummah. They need to think big. They need to think global instead of just thinking about themselves and some issues in the masjid, right? So that's my message to the committees and the imams of especially the U.S. and the West, that if you don't know how to unite how to unite people, your community, then please leave, and do something good for the Ummah and leave, because the situation in Gaza is connected. We are weak, right? This whole structure is weak because every community is weak, and because every community is weak because of you, the committee and the Imam, right? And so you have to think about, you have to let people ask questions. Umar radiallahu an, he was a very intimidating personality, right? In a positive way. People used to love him, but but people still would go and question him. There were several instances where an old woman would question his decision. And we, and in Arabic they say a'marukum a'malukum, that your leaders are your a'mal, right? So we complain about dictatorships in the Muslim world, but if you look at each Muslim, I've seen a lot of Muslims who are dictators themselves. We have dictatorships in the Masjid. Dictatorship is when you cannot go and question the Imam or question the committee. You're like, oh, they get upset, they kick you out of the Masjid. This is not how democracies and shura system. We don't have pure democracy, we have a mixture, obviously, but our system does not work this way. We should have the ability, and we should have the freedom to go and ask the Imam and the committee questions. So unless we do this, we change this atmosphere of strictness where we cannot talk, we cannot ask questions, we cannot have group discussions. This ummah is going to stay weak. United we stand, divided we fall. So this is the message for this video, that the Imams should, consider and think about what their actions are, whether they're uniting or not. We have, like, in our community in Delaware, like where I live close by, the masjids are divided, right? And there's no talk of unity, of getting together. Every committee every community itself, yeah, they're planning their own actions. So we should be ashamed of ourselves that we have not even thought about solutions. We always again pluck out leaves, right, of the weeds that grow up, but we don't take the weed out of the root. We don't address root problems at the root level. And again, the solution is that the Imams bring communities together. We open discussions, we let the youth talk, we will have more youth sessions, and make sure that every masjid in the community is on the same table and united. Jazakallah for watching. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.